Welcome to An Unconventional Life, a podcast where we share stories about the crazy 1% out there who earned their doctoral degrees and then went on to use them in crazy, cool, unique, and unconventional ways. Here's your host, astrophysicist turned teacher, author, dissertation coach, and more, Dr. Russell Strickland.
Hi, this is Dr. Russell Strickland here, host of An Unconventional Life podcast, where I feature the stories of the unconventional 1% who not only pursued and earned their doctoral degrees, but went on to use them in unusual and unconventional ways. We're going to follow the winding journey of their lives and their careers. Now, today I have Dr. Jeremy Weiss with me. He's actually conducted literally thousands of interviews of successful entrepreneurs, and investors, and CEOs. And today we're kind of flipping the script and he's going to interview me. So Dr. Weiss, thank you so much for being here.
Dr. Strickland, I appreciate it. You know, what's disconcerting of one of the metrics that you told me was about the dissertation, the stats of people actually finishing. And so we're going to talk about that and how you can avoid that. So, and what the actual odds are that you've seen with the metrics before we talk about that and get into how do you avoid the not so great metrics of completion. The episode is brought to you by Dissertation Done. If you could check out dissertationdone.com. And if you don't know Dr. Strickland at this point, he's kind of like rocket scientist meets management consultant. He's been through this journey himself and taken, so many people through this same process over the past 20 years. But he was studying astronomy and astrophysics at the University of Chicago. So he feels your pain of this. And so if you have questions, go to dissertationdone.com. You can call him, and he helps people through this frustration process of getting it done and helps people save thousands of hours in tuition over the years for people doing this. So Dr. Strickland, what are the odds of someone actually finishing?
Oh, goodness. So if you'll remember when way back when you were undergrad, I think everyone's had this experience that the dean or chancellor or someone at the university had all the freshmen sitting in an assembly at the beginning or during orientation or something. And they tell you, look to the left, look to the right. 2 of the 3 of you won't be here at graduation. And you're like, great, welcome to college, right? Well, when you get, the good news is when you go to get your doctoral degree, the odds improve dramatically to 50%. You only have to look to your left and 1 of the 2 of you won't be there. Now, I say that kind of tongue in cheek because that is terrifying. You've gone through, grade school, high school, college, you've gotten a master's degree, and then you're going into a doctoral degree program. You would think you would be pretty good at this stuff. And in fact, you are. But the problem is this dissertation is a big curveball. And those are just the numbers. Statistically speaking, it's a 50-50 chance.
The other scary part about it is, people are spending a lot of money on this. What is some of the costs involved in getting a dissertation?
Well, so there are lots of different types of costs, right? Tuition is the easy one. That's the one that everybody sees and they point to. They've got either, they're writing checks every few months, or they see that student loan balance going up. For a lot of schools, that is, at the time we're recording this, right around $30,000 a year. And for a lot of schools, you're paying to play. So as long as you're there, it's $30,000 a year. Occasionally, you're going to get a school that drops the tuition down significantly when you hit the dissertation phase. But still, most of our students, by the time they talk to us, they're about six figures into their dissertation. They're around $100,000. I've talked to some folks around $200,000 into their doctoral degree tuition, rather. So that's a big cost. What's another cost? Opportunity costs. What else could you be doing? I mean, I don't know how many people have told me that the best part of graduating was getting their life back, that they could go out with their husband or their wife and, go to a football game or, any of those sorts of things, and not have to worry about it, not have to stress about it. So what else could you be doing instead of earning a doctoral degree? So that's another cost. When we talk about opportunity cost, there's another one, which is the nice thing. The reason why a lot of folks are getting into this process in the first place is they want to earn more money, right? And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. In fact, our students tell us after their first year after graduation, their earning potential goes up by about 30 to 40 grand. That's our students. Overall, I don't know if the numbers are quite that good, but still, it's a significant bump when you have your doctoral degree and what you're able to earn. So while you're in school, you're not earning that money. You get out of school sooner, you're earning that money sooner. So there's a lot of different ways we can look at cost, but the bottom line is, while you're going through this experience, yes, you're learning more, you're growing, you're becoming a doctor. So those are all great things. But if you can get it done sooner, you're going to save yourself a lot in several different ways.
Yeah. And I know when you're working with people, you help cut the time down that it takes to finish, typically.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so again, so first of all, you have to remember there's this 50-50 proposition of actually graduating. So I call that the dissertation coin flip, because it's kind of like what it is when you go into the dissertation phase. Is kind of like fate stands behind your back, flips a coin, and puts a little mark on you as to whether you're going to graduate or not. It's not quite how it happens, but you can think of it that way. So we're only talking about right now that finishing faster, the 50% that are going to finish, right? So we want to first of all move you from getting tails on the dissertation coin flip to getting heads. So we know you're going to graduate. But then when we look at time to graduation, so many students come to me and they've already invested 2, 3, 4 years into their dissertation process. Again, we talked about the tuition figures associated with that. Our students, when we start off, our stretch goal is to finish in 12 months. I call it a stretch goal because it's a realistic goal, but it's tough to finish in 12 months. You don't have control over this entire process. So it's not like we can tell you exactly what to do and you can do everything we tell you and it's going to happen. There are other factors. But that being said, we have students that finish in 8, 9, 10 months, and we have students that finish in 14, 15, 18 months. That's kind of the range that we're typically seeing. And when those students do finish, we ask them, do you think you saved any time working with us? And the answer is always yes. And it's usually like a year or two by their estimates. When they get done, they think it would have taken them another year or two at least to finish on their own.
And that's a serious, I always say, if you think you're paying another year or two of tuition, that's significant dollars.
Significant dollars, but it's also a year or two of your life. And, folks know when you get to a certain age, money is not worth nearly as much as time, because you can always go out and make more money. But good luck figuring out how to make more time. If you figure out how to do that, call me up.
That's what your astrophysics study was about.
We'll work on that together.
People often ask, so part of the cost is that, and then, if someone actually wants coaching and actually wants someone to help walk them through this process and navigate it, it's a huge opportunity saver, right? But people probably ask about the cost. And I guess we were talking before we hit record about having an insurance policy. So you want to talk about kind of how that relates to what you do?
Well, yeah. I mean, so even if you are sure that you're not one of those people who is going to end up, dropping out of the program, getting kicked out of the program, flunking out, whatever you want to call it, even if you're 100% sure that that's the case, I will tell you that 95% of those students who do end up getting that dissertation coin flip coming up tails also were 100% sure that they weren't going to be in that bucket. So the first thing you got to realize is that this is a real problem that faces everybody. No one got into a doctoral degree program by accident. It's not something you do flippantly. Everybody went into this saying, I never quit. I always finish what I start. I'm good at what I'm doing. I'm going to get this done. And still, those are the odds. So the first thing is you want to make sure that you have all of the advantages in your corner that you can possibly have. And when you have someone that has a process that's proven to get you to graduation as quickly as possible over and over and over again, that's really a great resource to have in your corner. It really does turn the odds from 50-50 to 99 to 1% or something. I mean, we just don't lose students. We very occasionally have students change their mind and say they don't want to do it anymore, but it's not because they're forced out. It's because of life changes. And we're really careful about looking into that before we get started. We only want students who are absolutely committed to finishing, because it's a big deal. It's a lot of work. It's a big investment, and we want to make sure that your investment is going to pay off. So if you are interested in working with us, understand that the very first thing we're going to do is really make sure that it's a good fit before we would agree to work with you. That's the first thing. Once we've agreed to work with you, you already know that you've got some insurance that you're going to be able to finish this thing.
Now, I know, Dr. Strickland, people come to you in different circumstances, different points in their curriculum and everything like that. So if it doesn't make sense to talk about it, let me know. But is there a range that people should think about, okay, that they should invest in this insurance policy when they come to dissertation done? They may be at different starting places. So I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I'll let you kind of.
Yeah, it depends on where they are in the process. And obviously, things change over time with us, with our programs and the investment levels that we require. That does change over time. I always tell folks to start as early as possible because you'll finish sooner the earlier you get help. And that includes, you might be still taking classes or just having started your dissertation, not having a single word written down pertaining to your dissertation or proposal or prospectus or 10 strategic points. So there's all these documents that various schools and departments ask folks to create prior to the actual dissertation itself. It doesn't matter where you are in the process. The sooner you start, the quicker you'll finish. But just as a way of thinking about it, this should be an investment, and we look at it as it needs to pay off for you financially, monetarily, as well as in terms of your frustration levels, your comfort level, lowering your stress level, getting you to graduation quicker. So if we're going to save you a year or two on your time to graduation, then if we're talking about something less than a year's tuition, that's already a good investment, not to mention all of the other opportunity cost and personal cost and so forth that we're talking about. But it really, as I said, it depends on a variety of factors. It's not a cheap thing. It's expensive. It's something that everybody looks at and says, wow, I see the value, and has to take a little bit of time to come to grips with the fact that, yes, I'm getting one-on-one assistance week after week, all the way through this process. And I'm guaranteeing myself that I'm going to graduate. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. So I want to point people towards dissertationdone.com. I don't know if there's any final words or last places to point people to, or any final words with the coin flip.
Well, so the coin flip, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. I'm sure I'll talk about in various episodes when I speak with students one-on-one. We talk about a lot of things that are important regarding that coin flip. There is this magical place where you can get to in the dissertation process, and it's way before you're done, when you hit what I call a tipping point, and the coin flip goes from being kind of 50-50 to essentially 100% you're going to graduate. So we really talk about and stress getting students to that magical tipping point, and I can talk to you about that one-on-one if you like.
Awesome. Check out dissertationdone.com. Dr. Strickland, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Jeremy. Thank you.
This has been An Unconventional Life. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe now to keep getting inspirational stories of unconventional lives as soon as they're released. Until then, go out and live your best unconventional life.